What's up, my friends? My name's iirix. Today I'm going to be reviewing another card for you. Today's card, Deceiver Reform. For 6 and a colorless, you get an 8/8 Eldrazi with, at the beginning of combat on your turn, reveal the top card of your library. If a creature card is revealed this way, you may have creatures you control other than Deceiver Reform become copies of that card until end of turn. You may put that card on the bottom of your library. I find this card somewhat interesting. I do like how it is at least 7 for an 8/8, so you got a giant thing right there all by itself. But then that ability is tough to judge because by itself, 7 for 8/8, um, with possibly no benefit in the ability, it's hard to say because you have to have a creature card revealed. If it's a land or an instant, it's worthless. So it is rather interesting. For a creature heavy deck, obviously it would not be so bad, but for most decks where, let's say draft, you have 12 to 15 creatures on average, maybe 10 creatures, doesn't seem very good. It seems like too much of your deck needs to be dedicated to just creatures in order for it to be really effective. But that's not to say it's a bad card. So if you build your deck for it, it's a fine card. For draft, I'm going to give it a 3.5. It's going to be a little difficult, but you will have to focus on creatures and colorless creatures. I don't know how well you can do that in a draft right now. I know Battle for Zendikar, when we were doing draft of 3 packs of that set, there was always one person in the pod that would be picking all the Eldrazi they could, while most people would ignore them. So if that has been the same, or in your local game store that you draft in, if that's the same, then it'd be fine. But probably not the best thing in other places because of its cost, and it's okay. I don't think it's going to make a big impact, but for standard, a 3.5 because it's a lot easier to build your deck to focus around the ability. But there are better Eldrazi out there to work with. Not to say this one's bad, but you do not want to play 4 or even 3 of them. 2 might be pushing it, but 1 or 2 I think would be acceptable for standard. For modern, a 2, and I feel that's almost a little generous because it is 7 mana for an 8/8, and there aren't very many decks that are going to be using a 7 mana creature that has to wait for the beginning of combat to go off. So I don't think it's going to see a lot of play there. But for EDH, it'll shine quite well at 3.5, seeing as how it's big. That's what the format's all about. And I know in a creature-heavy deck, like, say, Animar, or Carador, where you're focusing all on creatures, you'll definitely have plenty of things to make your other creatures much bigger, or, even if it's a small creature, it's still a benefit because 8/8, it doesn't target himself, but let's say you have a 7/7 next to him, making it a 9/9, that can make a difference, especially if that's your general. So swinging for general damage, a 2-point boost, not too bad. But anyway, that's Deceiver Form. I've rambled a bit on that one because I have mixed feelings. But if you want to check out some of my other reviews, check out the playlist. I got quite a few of them. If you want to hear future reviews, subscribe to the channel. Leave a like if you want to hear some more things, and if you think I've got good opinions. And thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.